Now let's create a structure in the ABAP dictionary in the transaction SE11, and then let's create a nested structure in the ABAP dictionary. So let's navigate to the ABAP dictionary. That will be transaction SE11, and let's create a structure. So we choose data type. Remember to use the Z letter. ST for structure underscore flight info, and let's click on create. We're going to create a structure, so we select structure. We write a short description, flight information, and then we start typing all of our components. So for our structure S-flight info, we have all these components and our types. So let's start typing the flight ID component type S-con ID. When we press enter, we're going to see out automatically the data type. The system is going to bring it back from the ABAP dictionary because this is a predefined or a standard data element. Then the airline ID of type is car ID, enter. That is a car type with length 3, that is the airline code. Now we want the airline name also, and we want type S car name, enter. It is a car that accepts 20 characters. The distance travel, that is the S distance. It is type quant for quantity, and it's length 9, and it accepts 4 decimal positions. And the distance unit, that will be how you measure this distance. So we use the data type as this ID. We save our structure. We select our package, ABAP course. So our object structure is going to be included in this package. And we also select a change request to store our structure. So we select the same request we've been working on. We check the syntax, and as you can see, the system presents 2 warnings and 1 error. The component distance, it needs a reference field. So we go back, we go to the currency quantity fields tab, and in this space we write to which unit of reference does this field makes reference, and it makes reference to the distance unit. For example, if this was 100, this would store 100 watt, kilometers, meters, etc. So this component makes reference to the other component of the same structure. Reference table is the structure or a transparent table. In this case, it's going to be the same structure, and the reference field is the distance unit. We save, and now we check our syntax. We only get warnings, so we activate. Let's create now another structure, and then we can nest our second structure to our first structure. For example, we want to add here another we want to add another component called passenger, but that passenger includes the name, the age, the address, the phone number, and all of the information of a passenger. And we don't want to really declare all of that information inside this structure, because this is just the flight information, not the passenger information. So let's create another structure. So this component type can be called structure st passenger. If we press enter, the system tells us that it is not active because it doesn't exist. We need to create it, so we write the name and we double click. Create the type, yes. We want to save, yes. And it is going to be another structure, and this is going to be the passenger information. So in that structure we're going to have the name, the ID of the passenger, the address, and the phone. So we type the name. It's going to be a type car 30. That means a character that accepts 30 positions. This is a predefined data element that comes with the SAP system. Then we have the ID. It's going to be a num seat 10, meaning that it accepts 10 positions. The address, let's make it a car 100, so we give plenty of space to write an address. And a phone number, let's give it 15 positions. Let's save, check the syntax, and activate our second structure. Warnings occur, we want to display it, yes. Doesn't matter, everything is okay, so we go back. Now we have our structure active, and we go back again to our main structure, remember. Now we press enter, and the system displays that this is a passenger information structure. So this component is another structure. This is called a nested structure. So we activate our main structure. We don't want to display the warnings. Now we have a nested structure just created. Let's look at the ABAP program and how to access the components and how to assign values and print it to the screen. So let's go back and back to the SAP Easy Access menu, and then we navigate to the Object Navigator. One more time, we go to our programs and we double click our Z Structures program. Let's make full screen this and make full screen this, and I am going to use this option again to look at the code that was written below. You don't have to use it right now. So let's try declaring more. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. So give me a second. Here it is, working with nested structures. So let's declare a variable structure of the recently created structure in the ABAP dictionary. Remember the component names. There was flight ID, airline ID, so we access them with a hyphen. Let's assign a flight number. It will be 727. I'm sorry, I'm not supposed. I was just declaring. I'm sorry. I was just declaring the structure first. So it's going to be a ls flight structure type my recently created structure from the ABAP dictionary. Was the flight info structure, and now I can access all of my components using the hyphen. So we access the flight ID and we assign a 727, the airline ID, that would be a code for the airline. It will be just MA representing my airline. ls flight, let's assign an airline name, let's call it my airline, ls flight, the distance, let's assign 1500, the distance unit, in this case is going to be kilometers, now let's access the nested structure. So we use hyphen, the name of the nested structure, remember it was passenger, and then hyphen again, and then we access the name. Let's just write down any name. We do the same thing for the ID, so we write an ID of 8 numbers. Then we can access also the address, Tegucigalpa, Honduras, that's where I'm from, and the phone. I'm just gonna make up any phone, and then I can write this to the screen. I'm just gonna copy paste, but you know how to write. You use the write statement. I'm gonna uncomment this, and then you use 2 backslashes to represent 2 new lines, and then you write each of the component individually. So let's save, check, and I get an error. The distance unit is not defined. I think it had another name. Let's take a look here. It was just distance underscore unit. So let's take a look. We can navigate, and as you can see, we have a spelling mistake here. I don't see. Oh, I'm sorry, I was missing the equal sign. Now it is correct. We activate, and I run my program. And as you can see, all of the information was printed, included the information in the nested structure. That it was the name of the passenger, my ID, my address, and a phone number. You should now be able to define structured data objects, structure variables, use basic ABAP statements for structured data objects, create a structure in the ABAP dictionary.